It's the most embarrassing time of the year. Not Christmas, but no, Spotify Wrapped season, ladies and gentlemen, except not for Moving Up, who have an absolute stellar year. I've got to say, Alf, were you impressed with these statistics?
Absolute stonker, mate. These statistics it put a smile on our face. We just went through it together. It was quite a cute little moment. I was watching the laptop screen through my phone on FaceTime to Adam. So yeah, it was really good, really cinematic, of course. But yeah, what great, really good stats. Go for it, Adam. Tell them how we're doing.
Yeah, I'll reel off the headlines. Well, our listener time was up 57%. We were the top podcast for 26 fans. Followers went up by 188%. Top country was Great Britain. Don't think that's a surprise. Most listened to episode was 28 years later. That was episode 73, I think, if you want to go back and listen to that. What else did we have? We were named as a 2026 Rising Star because our growth this year, we were better than 90% of other podcasts, which I think is incredible.
Incredible. Like you said, maybe that shows how many dregs there are in the podcast community. But nonetheless, what was it? It was like 266% audience growth. Like, what the hell? So we're actually going somewhere with it, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, and it means the world to us. So thank you if you've listened to every episode in 2025, or you've just dipped your toe in for one, and maybe this is your first episode you've listened to ever, in which case, welcome along. But thank you very much for your support, and this episode, it's going to be another good one, so stay tuned.
Hello and welcome back to Movie On Up. This is episode 90 with your hosts, Alfie Walker.
And me, Adam Barlow.
Madam Marble, MM, Flip It Around, Wicked
Wicked
Witch. How did I not see her doing this on the press tour? And then all of a sudden, there's just been such an influx of these videos all over my timeline. Jimmy, what's his name? Jimmy Kimmel? No, the other one. Jimmy Fallon encouraging her to do it. It's to blame. He's so annoying.
That man needs to be stopped. Did you see he had one of those games where they set up some weird frantic scene behind a celebrity? In this case, it was Sydney Sweeney, and they had 3 Labubu dolls doing 6-7-6-7 and in a McDonald's drive-through. Like, what the heck? What are they on?
The so horrible.
But I'll tell you exactly why those mad and horrible clips have surfaced. Because they need anything, and I'm talking anything, to deflect from her singing.
You're right, because it's working, because I very vocally expressed how I felt about her in that film. But these videos of her loving the Flip It Around, Wicked Witch, it's great. It's made me love her. I forgive her for her bad singing and poor acting.
Yeah. You already know it's one of those clips on the internet that's going to have, for lack of a better term, freaks counting down to midnight on New Year's Eve, and it'll be her telling the anecdote on Graham Norton or something. when it hits midnight, it'll be like Wicked Witch.
If you start playing the Graham Norton show clip of Michelle Yeoh at 11:45, yeah, you get. I don't think it's got the same impact as those people who do the Death Star exploding at midnight, but I get that. I get the idea.
No, you're quite right. There are levels to this. This is a fun conversation. Would you ever have you ever done that? Have you ever lined up a film or a YouTube video or whatever it might be to see in the new year?
I've never done that. No, I've always just sort of. We usually either drink in the summer house. We usually put music on, and usually we kind of forget that it's happening, and then we go, "Oh shit, it's midnight," or "Oh shit, it's 1 minute to midnight. Quick, put the BBC on and watch the countdown." No, I've never done that. Have you ever done a big film on New Year's Eve?
Unfortunately not. I remember probably 2019 or 2020, I had half an idea of doing Infinity War. But I was like, if you're going to do it, you've got to do it properly. You can't just skip through to that point and do it for the clicks. You know, you've got to actually watch the film. But my family were just so slow, and as you know, like everyone has 4 drinks in their hand somehow, and you always forget until it's like 5 minutes to midnight, and you're like, oh wait, we need to watch those fireworks that we're nowhere near. Yeah, isn't that funny as well? Like, I know Christmas is still on the way. We've not even got past Christmas, but New Year's Eve, everyone gathers around the TV to watch a firework display that they're not even near. Isn't that weird?
And it's as bog standard as if you just looked at your back garden and looked at what fireworks are being let off anyway. Like, the ones that go off in Poole Quay are just as big as the ones that are going off. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's just music to the ones in London.
And even then, there isn't. It's only on the TV they add the music.
No way.
Yeah. Because it's so loud, there's no point playing music. So it's only in post that they add that, or, well, live, but
God, look at us, all the insights of this BBC big boy here. Look at us, all the little secrets. I thought it was blaring out across West Bank. I did not realise that.
No, unfortunately not. Yeah. I should have signed a non-disclosure agreement about the New Year's Eve fireworks, which have got nothing to do with me. But no, I know last week we checked in and you said you weren't feeling too Christmassy, but since then you've got a lounge, you've got a fabulous Christmas tree set up, might I say. Like, it looks beautiful.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you. It's been hard work. I cannot wait to show you on next week's podcast the decorations I've ordered from M&S. No better than M&S. Yes, 5 decorations, and I can't wait to put them on the tree and go through them on the podcast. It'll be a good little anecdote for next week.
You might not want to give it away yet, but did you get the Jonathan Bailey one?
Yes. And the accompanying Flying Monkey, Tin Man, Alphabet, and Glinda.
Oh, that's incredible. Oh, that's so much fun. I love those because it looks like they're just hanging themselves.
And Jonathan Bailey as Scarecrow, spoiler, sorry, is going at the top of the tree.
Yeah, that's my angel this year.
Speaking of Wicked, though.
Yes, of course, sorry, great segue. Leah last week sent me a first-hand account of the 4DX chairs in a cinema near her. Now, if you're not aware of these, it's basically the quote-unquote definitive cinema experience that people like Tom Cruise. Yeah, well, as we'll get on to. It's basically 3D, but you're also in a chair that rocks you around, and you've got elements. So, like, if it's snowing in a scene, you'll get foam chucked on you. If it's raining, you'll have a water pistol aimed at you, that sort of stuff. It's really full on. It's very quote-unquote immersive. But as Leah found out, it's not that simple.
During the adverts, I thought I was going to be thrown from my chair. It felt like I was genuinely in a Category 4 earthquake. It was so traumatic. It was horrible. But yeah, I think I was too busy getting frantically and violently shaken. Popcorn spilling, ice blast everywhere. When the house was falling, to actually fully experience the house falling onto Nessa Rose. I slightly saw it like slam down quite abrasively, but yeah, I was in a tornado at the time, so wasn't paying too much attention.
I mean, sounds like a riot, but sounds like an interesting experience.
Yeah. Would you ever try a 4DX experience? I don't know. I don't think I'm convinced.
Definitely not with a new film that I haven't seen before. I think, ironically, in it being immersive, it would completely break the immersion and take me completely out of the film. I cannot imagine watching a film for the first time in 4DX. Yeah. But, like you said, they did Jaws in it. I think that maybe would be quite fun. I've seen Jaws, I reckon, probably 50 times in my life. So seeing it in this weird way might be quite a cool thing. Maybe like Guardians of the Galaxy, something like that. Just something a bit sort of rip-roaring could be quite fun. And I think it'd be good to do as an experience. What do you think?
I guess, yeah, you're right. If you've seen it before, you're free to kind of enjoy a different, fresh angle with it. So maybe watching something like a Marvel movie or, I don't know, Empire Strikes Back, that'd be cool with Hoth and the windiness of Cloud City in that fight. That would probably work great. But I'm not going to see, I don't know, I'm not going to see Avatar Fire and Ash, whatever it's called, Avatar 3. I'm not going to see that in 40X. I think I'm happy with just the 3D glasses, I think.
Even I struggle with 3D glasses, to be honest. I think it makes the screen too dark, and maybe that's a bit old man of me, but I've always found 3D is just quite difficult to deal with. I've never been a big fan. Some people love the 3D stuff, but I, for one, don't.
It's not the worst cinema experience, though, and I didn't do this, but I remember vividly as a kid, back in 2011, the film Spy Kids All the Time in the World. Probably a crap film, I haven't seen it, can't say. But you were given scratch and sniff cards, right? So at scenes in the film, a big number would pop up in the corner of the screen, and you'd have to then scratch that part of the card and inhale, and you'd get a scent from that scene. And it would always be like something sweet or something like vomit. There'd be no in between.
Oh, this sounds like so horrible. What, did you experience this, or have you just heard about this?
No. I vividly remember it because I was like, oh, this is quite cool. I wonder if every film will do this. As far as I know, no film has ever done that since.
Telling.
I wonder why. Anyway, let's talk about some films for this week, shall we? Let's shift our attention to some reviews, because we've got 4 of them this week, you lucky devils.
Quite an interesting mix, especially with our 2 big ones. We've got Zootopia / Zootropolis 2 and Pillion, which really are opposite ends of the scale on who's going to go see these films, I think. Although with the fairy stuff, maybe there is crossover here. What else are you reviewing other than Zootopia?
Maybe they're not so different. I'm also going to be talking about Christy, which is a film I actually saw a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to hold my hands up and just admit it, completely forgot about. Not because it was bad, I just was swamped that week and I totally forgot by the time we were recording the podcast to actually talk about it. So, a little bit late, but it came out last week. So maybe some of you listening have already seen it as well, and you can weigh in with your thoughts. And you can do so by emailing or getting in touch on Instagram or TikTok. So yeah, that would be Christy with Sydney. I was going to say Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney. And we also had a press screening for Desperate Journey, just a press screener. So I sat down in my freezing cold kitchen, which is just how the filmmakers would have intended me to watch it, and watch Desperate Journey, which is a wartime film set in 1930s Paris. So we'll get into all those in just a moment.
Coming nearly 10 years after the original, so 2016, so 9 years to be exact, but nearly a decade for a really popular film, which is really strange. We've got Zootropolis 2, or Zootopia 2. Alan Barlow, I've seen mixed reviews on this. I saw some people saying that it's drab, it really missed the mark, and I've seen other people saying, wow, great sequel. Go for it, mate. What do you think?
I'm absolutely firmly in the latter half of those camps, because I found this film to be a fantastic sequel, I've got to say. In fact, I wrote in to Pulp Kitchen, another podcast we both enjoy, and I said, I think this is Disney's best sequel of the decade, and it's their best rom-com of the decade as well.
Bloody hell.
Because I think I'm yet to see a film, this includes like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is probably close if we're talking about the way that it wraps up a character's journey, that kind of trajectory. I think it was really good in that film. But Zootopia 2 / Zootropolis 2, whatever you want to call it, just nails it. I think this is better than the original, and I already loved the original. I'd only seen it a handful of times, and I rewatched it a couple of days before seeing the new one, and was just reminded how great it is. It's so wonderfully creative. It's some of the best animation out there. It's so vibrant, so colourful. The voice acting is top tier. The fox and the bunny are hot. I don't care who knows it. Quote me in court, God damn it. I mean, look, I've got the Zootropolis cup here that's got Ke Huy Quan's character, Gary D. Snake. We've got, of course, Sexy McGee. Which I believe is his full name. No, this is Nick Wilde, voiced by Jason Bateman. Brilliant actor. Loved him in Arrested Development. You've got Jennifer Garner as Judy Hopps, and then you've got another actress as this beaver.
Titular to the film, then, I'm guessing.
Yeah, can you notice the odd one out? No, she's really good as well. Let me find her actress's name. A good bit of comedic relief and a welcome addition. She's a bit sort of extra, a bit wild, but very funny. And some adult jokes in there from her as well, which were quite appreciated, I think, by the adults in the audience. She's Nibbles Maple Stick.
Phenomenal. Absolutely. I could not have made that up in my head if I'd spent 2 hours thinking, what's this beaver called? Wow, great.
Yeah. Voiced by Fortune Meister. Oh, no, Fortune Meister? That's not a real name. Fortune Feimster. There we go. Imagine me called Fortune
I'm
Meister.
naming my kid Fortune Meister.
Brilliant stuff. Can I just say, across the board, again, another stacked cast. You've got Patrick Warburton, who is Brian Winddancer, who is the new mayor, who's this stallion who stars in action films, but is actually a bit of a wet wipe in real life. But then, cuts the final act. He goes method, and it's just stupid. You've got Robert Irwin as a koala, who plays Robert Thurwin.
Very good.
You've got Macaulay Culkin in there. You've got Shakira back as the gazelle with another great song called Zoo, which I like just as much as the old song that they had. You've got Jenny Slate returning, Idris Elba returning. You've got Ed Sheeran, who plays a sheep, called Ed Sheeran. I mean, come on. You've got, gosh, who else? Alan Tudyk. You've got Dwayne Johnson, apparently. You've got Michael J. Fox, who plays Michael J. the Fox. I mean, it's just...
Disney have got their best writers on this, haven't they?
It's phenomenal, isn't it? I mean, it's low-hanging fruit, but god damn it works. I just had an absolute joy. There's so many cameos in there. And again, it expands on the lore. The mystery is more adult. There's some real darkness in here. Like the whole final act is a homage to The Shining and the maze
I've heard about this. Yeah, I've heard about this.
Which is just so genius. And you've got the Godfather spoof in there as well again. And there's so many moments where it takes the piss out of itself. Almost like, when Wreck-It Ralph, the second one, when they go into the internet and they meet all the princesses and stuff like that. It's kind of like that, but more tastefully done and less on the nose, if that makes sense. It just really all worked. And I think this is one of the funniest films I've seen this year. It was literally... every 30 seconds I was laughing at something new, and there's always a background joke going on, like the Lego movies. It's so intricately woven together and crafted and just determined to entertain you. And it really works for the adults. They were laughing along. It really works for the kids. And it's so funny. But there's also this profound emotion at the centre of it that actually is like... I mean, it's weird actually saying that it's like a Pixar film when Pixar maybe hasn't been quite so strong in previous years, in recent times. But there's a moment, I'll try not to give it away, but there's a scene that takes place on a cliff face. And I remember the little carrot-shaped pen that they have in the first one that's also a voice recorder. That had sort of a lot of emotional weight to it in the first film, and it's back in this one. And there's a moment with that pen that, it's obviously it's an inanimate object, but the whole room felt totally silent and you could hear sniffles. And this is around the halfway mark in the film. And you're like, oh my God. And I remember, it took me out of the film. I was looking around me and I turned around. I was in the recliners, checked the back of the room. Everyone was just stunned. I was like, the fact that Disney has managed to give that much weight to a pen, for God's sake, in an animated film where the characters are all animals and wearing crappy Hawaiian shirts, it's brilliant. I totally loved it, and I'm so relieved that it's a good sequel, because you compare it to Moana 2, which was total trash. You compare it to Kung Fu Panda 4, dreadful. There's been so many rubbish legacy sequels to animated films recently, animated films that I grew up with. And Zootopia is one of them. And I'm so relieved and chuffed that it not only holds a candle to the original, but it succeeds. It goes beyond it, I think, which is so lovely. I've given it 5 stars. That may come down, but just I'm loving the enjoyment that everyone's taking from it. And I haven't even mentioned the box office success here. It's broken records. I think last I looked, don't quote me on this, it might have improved since then, but it has it's had the fourth highest grossing opening weekend of any film ever, I think. I think I'm right in saying that.
Really? Bloody hell.
Yeah, at time of recording, it's already zoomed past $600 million at the global box office. It's not even been out for a week. Okay. I mean,
hell.
That is magnificent work. And Disney, I know you're everyone's villain at the moment, but god damn it, this film was great. Really liked it.
That's so good to hear. I didn't realise that. I knew that you'd enjoyed it, but I didn't realise you'd enjoyed it that much. And to hear that it's got an emotional kick, because like you've said, some films in recent, like you said, some Moana, and then even when you mentioned with with Pixar stuff recently, I'm thinking like Turning Red, like stuff like that just didn't do it at all. I think they're so lackluster, and it's really nice to hear that they have come back full form. And like you said, you prefer it to the original, and it's got an emotional kick but isn't emotional manipulative. Like I find that with Pixar sometimes too. They're a little bit too jabby. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm hoping it's going to be out on Disney Plus for Christmas, and this will be a watch with Lenny over Christmas.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it's probably a bit too early.
Yeah, it is.
I would say
Christmas is so soon. Yeah,
I would imagine maybe end of January, beginning of February. You know what? They do well to put this out before Valentine's Day because it's very romantic. It's very romantic. So I'll leave it at that. I don't want to go into the plot too much because it's a mystery. I don't want to give anything away. But Ke Huy Quan is just so joyous as the snake, and you've got the brilliant connection between Judy and Nick, and their relationship develops, and it's so adult. Like it's beyond the friendships that you've seen in other films like this. It's really intricate and delicate, but also so wholesome and human as well. I really had a great time. From one rom-com to another, here's Pillion, which, Alfie, you went to go and see on Tuesday evening this week. What did you make of it?
Well, very apt saying that there, Adam. Alexander Skarsgård has described it as a dom-com on the Graham Norton show the other day, which is very fitting. I'm going to preface this one by saying this is the definition of not for everyone, but I would really, and I mean, yeah, go watch this, but I would really recommend watching Simon Mayo and, God, what's his name? Why am I blanking?
Mark Kermode.
Mark Kermode's review on this, because it is the most succinct I've seen Mark Kermode do a review in a he's very good, isn't he? But it's so on point with everything he says. And Simon Mayo really didn't like it. And you can tell he didn't like it. And it's so interesting to watch them talk about it. Yeah, it really is the definition of not for everyone, but I would highly recommend. This is the debut feature from Harry Lighton, and then it's based on the book Box Hill by Adam Mars Jones, and apparently it's quite different to the book, but it's still got the same sort of the themes and that. The main characters in this one, yeah, we've got Alexander Skarsgård as Ray, and then we've got Harry Melling as Colin. You'd know him as playing Dudley from Harry Potter, which is a huge change in role here. You've gone from basically a bully, some podgy fat bully guy, to a skinny barbershop quartet singing traffic warden, parking ticket warden.
Oh,
it's
wow.
Set, yeah, it's good to see his range. My God, because
I
he
love
is
a barbershop
like
quartet.
a different person. It opens with that as well. So if you go watch this, you'll love it. My Letterboxd review, and I think the tagline that should be plastered all over this was, "This film is what Baby Girl thinks it is." We were pretty mixed on Baby Girl, weren't we, when that came out? I think I enjoyed bits of it, but I think it overall it's fallen quite flat. This film goes where that film wanted to go. This film shows properly sort of this weird taboo relationship, and it does it so perfectly. It's so quaintly British, which is an amazing setting to have something like this in, because you go somewhere like Brighton, right, and you're walking down these sort of quaint lanes and all these shops, and it's very British. And then you could walk past, because Brighton is Brighton, someone in like a pup costume, and this film summarizes that so well. It's set in sort of like, kitchen sink England. It's got this real, like, you walking down the crescent of like a house of these sort of nice middle class houses, and then you also have this overarching theme of gay sort of BDSM and all that kind of issue. And it's going to be a huge shock to some people because this film earns its 18 rating. It's maybe the most sexual film I've seen in a cinema. It really, really goes for it. Don't watch this one with your nan or your mum or anyone you're related to, really. This is one to watch with your partner and your partner alone. In the first 15 minutes, you've got prosthetic dick and full-blown sex scenes with it. Like, it's on the nose and it shows you it. I think it's an excellent way to almost desensitize you to it, because then for the rest of the film, you know it's happened, and anything else that happens isn't like, or it is like that. There's plenty more of it, but it's not going to shock you on the same level. So you can pay way more attention to what's going on and the sort of message behind it. As I said, it's adapted from a novel, Box Hill, and it follows Colin, who is in a barbershop quartet, and he, by day, is a traffic warden, gives out parking tickets, which is a real, quite like juxtaposition for what he's experiencing and the kind of person he is, because he's far too nice to be doing that job. Because I think you always see parking wardens and their job's worths, and he's far too nice to be doing that. It starts off, like I said, showing you everything, and then you get a slow reveal as he's discovering this sort of world, and you feel like him, where you just don't know what's going on. It just, out of nowhere, Alexander Skarsgård shows up, and from the get-go is introducing him into his world of, he's like a leather-clad biker, basically, wears a full leather suit constantly. Very, very handsome, which definitely helps the film. And this Colin is sort of drawn in by him and clearly is craving something and not experienced this. And because he's so good looking and he hasn't had a boyfriend before, he's willing to experiment. It's really quite deep. There's a lot of sort of nuance to it. It really touches on quite sad areas. There's a whole plot with his parents as well, with his mum having cancer. That sort of there as an undertone, and you can feel that the whole way through, and the pressure on him with the relationship. You've got his parents, one of them who's sort of adamantly against it and doesn't like what's happening, and you've got the other one who's just happy that he's happy. And it's a real interesting scenario to sort of be, it sort of follows through the film. It's not a huge part of it, but it's there, and it feels just so genuine. I've never watched a film that films like you could just be watching this for real. It really does feel genuine. I don't know about you, Adam, but I haven't seen many BDSM portrayal films in cinema. Have you?
I've seen all of them, mate. All of them. No, I don't think I have. No.
All I've seen are incredibly crass ones. Like, 50 Shades of Grey is the prime example. I'm aware that there are plenty of very well done ones, but I have not indulged. But this film deals with the subject area really well. Don't know if you remember, but I did my my major multimedia project at uni on basically another similar sort of thing, in like a gay community thing, where people are getting into something very taboo. And I wrote, obviously, my multimedia product on that. And I like to think that I portrayed that quite well and interviewed loads of people and did a good job. And this film definitely does that as well. It just feels real. It doesn't play it for laughs. It's incredibly funny. And it's the most cringe-inducing film I've ever watched, maybe. Jacob cringes real hard at films, and he was squirming with everything that happened in this film. You can picture this quaint, I can't use the word quaint enough. It really is just such a juxtaposition of settings. You've got this young, innocent guy who's singing, thrust into this world, pun intended, where you've got men in leather dog outfits and chains around their necks and shaved heads and leather boots and piercings all over their face and piercings on their genitals. Like, it is so different, and it shows it all. It doesn't play it for laughs, but it's funny witnessing it with Colin, with the main character, because you really are being like thrust into it the way he is. You've got no clue what's going on. It's all a sort of experiment for him, and it's revealing it, as you go through it. The parents are quite a good through line throughout the film, because you definitely feel represented by them. There's plenty of awkward scenes where they're meeting him, and you can see Colin change over the film, and they are incredibly shocked by it, but they still obviously love him. He's their son. And you feel the same way as the parents. It's quite a good grounding route for the film, so it doesn't sort of spin off into just sort of ridiculousness almost. It's really quite a sad film as well. It's got a real message about Colin and who he is, and it comes almost quite full circle towards the end. I mean, it really does come full circle, but it leaves it on quite a sad note. And the woman behind me literally went, when as soon as those lights came up, she went, "Oh, that's so sad." Yes, lady. Yeah, it really is. Like I said at the beginning, it's not going to be for everyone, but I would really recommend it. If you can stomach a bit of cringing and want to just watch something a bit different, but something that's done really well. Guardian gave it 4, Empire gave it 5. It's getting really good reviews. It's a debut film, and it's a really, really good one. I couldn't recommend it more. I think you'd be all right watching it, mate. I would recommend you going to watch it, because the moment you get over that first sort of sex scene, you know where you stand with the film, and you can just embrace it for the crazy what it's showing on the screen. And it's quite mad that all this actually happens in some people's lives.
I really like that, as you say, it sort of gets it out of the way, because otherwise with films like, let's be honest, most things Emerald Fennell's done, and you know, a lot of the 50 Shades of Grey sort of, you know, that kind of subgenre, it is so much about like, oh my goodness, how far is it going to go? But you're right, if they just hit the ground running, so to speak, you're right, it frees you from sort of in the back of your mind always being like either eager or terrified of what's going to come. Pun intended. But yeah, that makes total sense, that you can then just indulge in the actual human elements of it. You know, well, obviously it's all human, but the more subtle, the subtler things of the narrative, that's really cool. I would have gone to see it had the showings at the Odeon in Bournemouth not been exclusively 10:30 at night, which I think is mad.
That's such a shame. I mean, it's an 18, so I guess that's why.
Yeah.
Weird, because you think just check people's ID, innit? But yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, it's weird, because there's been other films like Baby Girl was on throughout the day, so I don't know why this has been pushed quite so far in the schedule. And it has literally just been one showing a day, 10:30, maybe 10 o'clock. But yeah, it's just been annoyingly late. Otherwise, I would have gone to check it out. And I remember it was at the LFF, and we saw it, didn't we? We saw them walking down the carpet.
Yeah, we did. In their leather-clad outfits, in their leather skirts, and there was a guy in a pup costume. I presume that's all the actors from this film, all those people who were on that carpet, because that rings a bell now you've said that. It's cool seeing it. I think it's a really good film. I really enjoyed it. I think it's actually sat with me, the sadness of it, quite a lot. And it's sort of when you think a film over, don't you? And it either gets better in your head or it gets worse. And this one's gotten better for me. I was not stunned, because I was aware of this sort of part of the gay culture. It's quite famous. There's like a comic called is it Tom of Finland? I think it's very much this like butch men in leather with leather hats, and it's really quite graphic. It's quite famous, but yeah, the way the story went, the final, maybe the final sort of half hour. The film's only hour and 45, which is nice. I'm glad it's not any longer. I think the final maybe 25 minutes is where there's a real change in the two characters. I won't spoil it because it's nice to not know that's going to happen and what does happen. But there's a real change, and it becomes really quite touching and sentimental, and sort of soft, and you see a different side to the characters. And yeah, I really recommend it, mate. It's just such a shame that you can't go see it. That's really annoying. But watch the Simon Mayo and Commode review. Commode really nails it on the head, and everyone in the comments on that YouTube video is going like, "Wow, Mark, you've really hit this." And he kind of exposes Mayo a little bit, where he goes, "Well, if this was a straight film, would you have the same opinion?" Like, oh, nice one, Mark. Go on.
He's on the ropes now. Speaking of being on the ropes, I've always used that phrase like, "Oh, mate, I'm on the ropes." Just because I always picture, in a kid's playground, you have the one where it's like a bar of wood and then a bit of rope on each side, and you've got to like just step from one foot onto the other, and it always spins around, and you're like rocking from side to side. I imagine that. So like if I'm ill, I'll be like, "Oh mate, I'm on the ropes," and I'll just imagine me struggling through a playground. But what it actually refers to is the boxing ring, of course, which I don't know why it took me so long to realise that, but of course that's what it means.
I've never clicked to that either, yeah.
When you've been knocked out and you're then hanging on the ropes of the boxing ring. So that brings me on to a very good boxing film named Christy, which stars Sydney Sweeney, and it follows the real-life true story of professional boxer Christy Martin, who became America's best-known female boxer in the 1990s/early 2000s, and later sort of had a real run-in with her husband, trainer and manager turned husband, Jim, who is played so evilly by Ben Foster, I believe. Wow, I don't know if I've seen him in anything else, but he is so hateable in this film. It's ridiculous. He's so unlikable, this man. And I left the theatre after this film with Tamsin, and we were just like, we were so angry, like, at this character. I walked out and I just turned to her, I was like, what a piece of work, with a few other expletives in there. But oh my goodness, this is, I was actually quite astounded by how much this film affected me. It's really tragic in the final act, and I remember James saying it on Pulp Kitchen again, that he also had this real, like, the first sort of 2/3 of it is pretty bog standard sports drama. Like, it's quite similar to things like The Smashing Machine, which you may have seen earlier this year. And, it's a typical, it hits the beats of like, oh, someone finding their trainer, not quite knowing who they are, but they find this thing that they're really good at. And, in this case, a female boxer, this was at the beginning of women even being allowed to do that, let alone be good at it and get paid the same amount as men. So it's kind of this great rags to riches sort of story for the first half. And then it becomes a real claustrophobic, horrible drama between her and her husband, who you find quite predictably has been taking money from her earnings, and it's been building up and up over the years, and he's basically stripped her of any identity, of any personal sense of self, because she is so committed to her work and to her boxing career that she just doesn't know who to turn to. Her whole life revolves around him. He starts monitoring her phone calls at a certain point in the film, and it spans about, I think, 15 to 20 years, in a similar way that The Smashing Machine does with Dwayne Johnson. But I totally think this film's way better, and I think a lot of people have felt the same way that I've spoken to. Anyone that's seen Christy and also saw The Smashing Machine is like, oh, forget The Smashing Machine. Dwayne Johnson's Academy Award nominee, not gonna happen. Sydney Sweeney, given the year she's had, I know this is a bit of a controversial film just because it stars her, which I think is, I don't know, I won't get involved. I know it was not ideal what she said with that jeans advert at all, but god damn it if she isn't great in this. She's really very good. And it reminds you why she's everywhere. She's getting all these brand deals. She's getting cast in every major franchise because she's a bloody good actress. And she's very good in in Euphoria, and I think we've maybe forgotten that after seeing her in things like Madam Web and Anyone But You and all this sort of B-movie trash. But now you see her in Christy, which is a real gritty character study, and you're like, yeah, this is why you're one of the biggest stars in the world at the moment. I found her performance to be so heartbreaking at times, but she's also like someone like it felt really easy to connect with her, and as though you'd walk past her on the street and maybe not think twice, but she's got this remarkable career and life behind that. I just found it really interesting, so hats off to her totally. I think she deserves a nomination personally. Whether or not she'll get it, again, given the controversial stuff she's done this year, I don't know. I think she might have shot herself in the foot there, quite unfortunately. But I think she deserves an Oscar nom for sure. Whether or not it happens, I don't know. We've also got Katie M. O'Brien in here, who you'll know from Star Wars The Mandalorian. She is, I think, is she non-binary? Are they? No, they're not non-binary because she go by she. I should have looked this up before recording live on the podcast. No, so she's very good. I believe she's lesbian. Let me check. She's got a spouse.
Is this the one who plays the evil person in Mando? Am I thinking of the right person?
Yeah. She's got a small role.
Officer.
Yeah, she's got a small role in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. She was in The Running Man, of course.
Running Man. Yes, that's exactly what she was in.
I forgot she was in that. I've just seen it. I was like, oh yeah, of course she's in that. She was in Love Lies Bleeding, which is kind of almost the exact same role that she's playing here, except that was wrestling and this is boxing. She was in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, playing God knows who because I don't remember.
Right.
I'll take your word for it, Google. I think she was in Twisters as well as part of Glenn Powell's troupe.
She's in a lot recently. Hell of a lot.
Yeah, good on her. She's really good. I think she's a brilliant actress, really charismatic, and she's in this film only briefly, to be honest, but as one of Christie's competitors, who's obviously another female boxer, because Katie O'Brien is incredibly physical in these films. She's very good. You can tell she's got real strength behind her and actually does this sort of training for real. So I think she really fits in. And I mean, it's a true story, but I mean, I won't spoil it. They have a really nice friendship that develops throughout this film, actually, that kind of simmers in the background, and then by the third act, you're like, oh, this is actually really integral to her survival, which is just really moving. It's really lovely when they show the real stories and the real pictures of the people it's portraying. It really hit home, and the whole audience was like, oh, like audibly reacting to each line that came up. I'm like, that's really good that everyone is that involved, that they properly are reading. They're not racing to get out. They're actually sat here looking at all the pictures, which went on for maybe an extra 2-3 minutes when they could have left because the lights went up. But no, they all stayed there and were really involved. I should say as well, this is also like an LGBTQ film because Christy Martin was a lesbian who, obviously, the fact that she had a husband was really for financial and for financial gain, but also to go onto the radar, as it were. So that's really sad as well. Just the very fact that she was kind of bullied into marrying this guy who initially is very dismissive of her anyway and knows that she's gay as well. That's the other thing. He kind of traps her in this relationship, which is just so... I think I used the word claustrophobic earlier, and I think that's really apt to describing this film. It does feel like, even though she's got a load of money, a really nice house, a really great car, is at the top of the career, she's got no free will whatsoever, and it's really horrible to watch. And as I say, it takes a really properly dark turn, which is all true, in the final act. It's really brutal. And I was stunned, to be honest. And again, one of those stories that it's amazing that you haven't heard it before. And even if you have, it's clearly very well realised here, because I was totally enamoured by Sydney Sweeney's performance, and it just all really clicked together for me. So, strong recommend from me.
And final review for today, we've got Desperate Journey. This is a film that we had a screener sent to us. So we had the studio reach out, some reps reach out and said, do you want to watch this one? Adam Barlow graciously took that offer. How was it, Adam? I've just said I haven't heard anything about this one. I've seen the emails back and forth and I have not watched it yet. But the poster and the cinematography, the stills on Google alone are intriguing me. This looks incredibly good.
Yeah, and it was a real pleasant surprise. I had a great time with this. It's another remarkable true story. It's the real story of Freddie Noller, who was forced to flee Vienna in the late 1930s, around the time when Hitler was invading Austria. And he's got to try and get to England. So his younger brother was given a visa by his parents. They could only get one, so only one of the brothers could leave, and he was like forced to go his own way and get smuggled across the borders, basically, because he was a survivor compared to his brother. So he's put in this position where he's carted off on a train, then taken in a van. He makes friends with one of the young girls on the van and kind of has this real quick love story sort of spark up, which is really sweet, really endearing. Then some Nazi soldiers interrupt the van journey, and as they're going through the forest to cross the borders, they get, I think, to cross into Paris, or to cross into France it must be, they get hunted and shot, and he quickly loses this girl that he's just met, which is like, okay, nothing's permanent. He very quickly learns that lesson that you have to be just looking out for yourself, because you're only going to find heartbreak and loneliness if you look anywhere else. So I thought that was all really, really impactful and very serious and well handled. You know, it's a wartime drama that's not going to pull its punches. You know, there is real loss in this film, which is, you know, it feels appropriate. He ends up making it to Paris after being fed, cleaned, clothed by this nice French couple in one of the outskirt villages. He gets to central Paris and he gets sort of hooked on this burlesque lifestyle, which is very flamboyant, very glitzy, very glamorous, and he falls in love with the head showgirl as a kind of, he's this young bloke, you know, who's fled, probably in his teens. I don't know if it states how old he is, but clearly not over the age of 20, because he's very juvenile. They make a joke, him and his brother, that he's a virgin, and they sort of share these images of burlesque girls, so that like the fact that he makes it to Paris, he's like, well, it's not England, but I don't mind hanging out here for a little bit. So he has, you know, he sort of laps up the energy and the vibe there for a little bit, but obviously it's not going to be that easy laying low as a Jew in Paris in World War II. So he gets sort of roped in to helping the guy who runs the area, you know, who runs this club. And because he can speak German, it's his job to then get the Nazi officers to come in and spend their money there. Like, if they're going to invade our country, then let's at least get some money off of them. That kind of, you know, morally grey use of their careers and talents is quite interesting. So he ends up doing it reluctantly at first, but it also gets him closer to the lead showgirl, so he's quite happy about it. There's a very tense scene where he's locked in a room with some of the officers, who then start talking about phrenology, which is the study of skulls. So one of the high-ranking officers sort of is like, well, let me test your head, and he's going by a different name, and, you know, he's ripped up all his papers. There's no way of them tracking that he's a Jew. And they're like, they have apparently Jews have two little dimples in the back of their heads, which is, according to the officers, where they used to have horns. It's just completely, you know, horrific xenophobia. And it's a really well shot scene, particularly really atmospheric and really tense. You can see that the actor is just sweating buckets, and it's like, oh my god, like, you've got another officer with a gun pointing at his head. If they find anything, all he has to do is like nod his head and he's gone, right? That scene was impeccably done. I really thought that was quite well handled, and really claustrophobic again. Really drew me in, and it's only about a third of the way through, so I was kind of properly involved after that. And yeah, the film goes on, gets a bit messier as the war goes on, of course. and there then becomes this plot. He gets caught and kidnapped by the French resistance, who are like, right, you work at this club. We've got news of someone higher up coming through this area. If we can get him into your club, the officers trust you. You've made a good impression with them. We can get you to get some papers and look at what he's got in this briefcase that never leaves his side. So he agrees to do it quite reluctantly. And the film goes from there into the final act, which I won't go into any more detail about. Just know that it gets very messy, very twisty. And it's all a true story again. So it's quite astounding that this happened. I mean, that's what I always find interesting about these war films, is even though it's not set on the front lines, just the absolute chaos across Europe caused by this huge fallout is insane. Like, every story is good enough to be a biopic or to be an action thriller like this. And it's a 1 hour 50-minute runtime. I never got bored. I found it consistently engaging. It may not be the most memorable, profound thing ever. I think Empire sort of said that in their review, that it's, where every story is so incredible, it then means like you've got to have something really special to stand out, if that makes sense.
It's stiff competition, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. And as you said, the shots here look lovely. It's really atmospheric. It does a great job of setting you in that 1930s, 1940s feeling in Paris. It's lavish. It's that contrast between the war that's going on around the world and then this sort of pocket of seedy, sex appeal that's like, oh, no one should really be here, but we are, and we're going to revel in it. And it's that kind of interesting dynamic, I suppose. So I found this really interesting. I really liked it. I think it's in the cinemas right now, actually. I've seen some showings at the Odeon near me, so it's certainly out there. It's got a modest release. And for a pretty low-budget film, I thought it was very well handled and worth a watch as well. I've got to just give the flowers again to Lucas Lingard Tønnesen, who plays Freddy in the film. I thought he did a superb job. For an actor who I hadn't really heard of before. I think he was in a Netflix show called
1899, yeah.
1899, yeah. He's apparently quite good in that, so he's one to watch. I was really impressed by him. Thought he did a great job. So definitely worth a watch if it's playing near you. It's only a short film, and again, the true story is quite remarkable, so worth checking out.
We love our returning segments on this show. Big question. We haven't done that in a while. We'll bring that back next week. That's an easy one. What was our one that we did in like episode 4, like the Cabinet of Curiosities? Where did that go? Don't know.
Yeah.
What else we got? Kane's Corner. It returns every now and then and people love it. The fans beg out for it every time, but it's a real strain on getting Michael here now he's retired. It's quite difficult. Our favourite though, cue that jingle.
Oh, come on, stop messing around with your phone, get it?
Did I ask you?
Where have you hidden the Mona Lisa? I love you, kitchen gun! Ridiculous. Keisha's Lorraine. It's the Peter Serafinolist
List.
To be honest, I don't think that's any of your business.
I love you, kitchen gun. Did I ask you though?
It's so good. I've managed to find the Peter Serafinolist, which is a real miracle, let's be honest, in my huge data bank of Word documents. But here we go. Do you want me to try and run you through it again?
Yeah, go through it. I cannot remember the ranking, so...
Okay, so we've got at the top Peter Serafinowicz, just himself, of course. That probably makes sense. Then we've got Brian Butterfield. Then we've got Michael Caine and Ralph Fiennes, his impressions of them from the actors...
Masterclass, isn't it? Yeah.
Actors Masterclass, that's the one. Then we've got the Guardians of the Galaxy character who does have a name, but I've just put in GOTG character. And then we've got, oh God, the guy from How to Train Your Dragon, who, I really should put their full names because it's just initials. It's just SJ. It was
Jorgensen, wasn't it? Yeah, there you go. Got it. Look at that. Memorable.
There we go. Maybe I don't need to write it in full.
Who are we adding to the Peter Serafinolist this week?
Well, this week we have seen on Instagram some clips of him guesting on a podcast with Mel Giedroyc, who I was lucky enough actually to see back in the summer at the podcast show in London, who was promoting this podcast called Where There's a Will, There's a Wake. She's taken over from the previous host and by all accounts has done a stellar job. I've not listened to it, truth be told, but have heard great things. And Peter Serafinowicz was on it in the hot seat.
I think that's it, Adam. I think you nailed it on the head. Was it Peter Serafinolist? Was it Peter Serafinowicz? Sorry. It didn't look like him. It looked like I don't know. I don't know what was wrong with him.
Looked like Kevin the teenager, didn't he?
On top form, though, we said, like, making some cracking impressions, really good jokes. Yeah. On form as always. He's always great. We've met him, haven't we? He's a fan of the show. Or we've met Brian, shall I say? But yeah, he's on form. But my God, does he look dishevelled?
And as we said, all the comments are just saying, "Oh my goodness, get this man 8 hours of sleep," because he looks so on the ropes. It's there's no two ways about it.
Where on the Peter Serafinolist would you put him, though?
As we said, he's on top form. He's not doing a character here. I think the fact that he is still so funny, even when he's got the plague, is quite
impressive. Quite a feat, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he's above Snotlout Jorgensen.
Of course.
I think he's funnier and more articulate than the Guardians of the Galaxy character.
Absolutely.
Is he as funny as Michael Caine or Ralph Fiennes? That's where I draw the line, I think. I think he slots in there.
I'd say definitely no more than Michael Caine, because that's so iconic. I'd say arguably because he rattles through some impressions. He has some really good ones, and then he does an impression of Stephen Fry, and it doesn't sound like Stephen Fry at all. Don't know what's going on there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no. I watched the full clip. It doesn't sound like him. But he does one of Matey from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. He does Terry Wogan, all the classics, and they're really quite good. So maybe just above Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah, let's put him in there. I do love that Chris Tarrant impression that he does. I think that's so funny. In the sketch show where it's just flipping a coin, he's like, "So, what do you think? Is it heads or is it tails? Could be heads. Could be tails.
Could be tails."
So silly.
Yeah, chuck him on there. I mean, we're having a laugh here, but I mean, obviously, if you're listening, Peter, we hope you're all good. We were maybe guessing that he's just dressed up as Brian Butterfield, and then he's had to go take off all that makeup, and then he's run back to the seat. That would be my guess. It really does look like he's just scrubbed his face with a wire brush or something. But if you're listening, hope you're all good, Peter. Come on the show.
Yeah, that would really be such an honour, wouldn't it?
One day,
I think our dream guest is Peter Serafinowicz.
Yeah. The thing is, when he was promoting his tour, he went on a podcast that I listened to, and it's not a huge podcast, genuinely. It's like obviously significantly bigger than us, but their listenership is like, they've stopped doing the podcast now because their listenership wasn't growing. And he went on there and for like half hour and promoted as Brian Butterfield. He went on there. So he's done it and he does it. Yeah, I think if I had to pick someone, I think because his humour is so in tune with us and so sort of like everything we make jokes about, it's so either Partridge or Peter Serafinowicz, so Butterfield. So I think he would be the one where I'm like, wow, that's cool. And it's feasible, I think. It is feasible.
Yeah. I mean, I bought his Brian Butterfield DVD the other day, which arrives in the post this week. So that's fun. I can't wait to rewatch that at Christmas. Although you said that podcast, their listenership stopped growing after they had him on. So maybe we don't want him.
Yeah, maybe not. Not of those Spotify stats at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, stay away, Peter. We've got something going here.
Michael, though, if you're free, come back on Kane's Corner.
Michael Caine, of course, yeah.
Thank you for listening to the podcast today, episode 90, the big 90. We hope you enjoyed the reviews. If you've seen any of these films, please give us an email in, give us a message. Let us know what you thought of Zootropolis. Go see Pillion, let us know what you think of that. It'd be great to hear someone else's opinion. Josh Brooker, maybe they're showing it on the Isle of Wight. You're funny over there. Go on. Go watch this one. Please email in with any questions, anything like that. We'd love to hear it, really would. You can do that. It's hello@movieonup.com.
Or you can head to our Instagram and TikTok. The handles for both those platforms are @movieonup. Go and check it out. There's some funny stuff there, and we should really upload more because we're just so good at it. We're busy boys. We're busy boys. So give us time, and we'll return in full force. On Josh Brooker seeing Pillion on the Isle of Wight, I can reveal that is not going to happen because the Isle of Wight is not showing Pillion at all. I'll leave it at that.
How do you know that? Has he already said about this?
He wanted to see it, but they're not showing it at all. Yeah,
that's interesting because they're weird over there. So I thought they'd like this one.
Anyone on the Isle of Wight, we do apologise for Alfie's behaviour there.
Well, they weren't on our stats, were they? It was Czech Republic, England, USA, Australia, and where else?
Germany,
yeah. There you go. What are we reviewing next week, Adam Barlow?
Next week, I'm definitely going to be seeing Eternity, the new film with Elizabeth Olsen. That looks like a lot of fun, but also a bit of a weepy, so I'm going to take some tissues with me. And what else is out? Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2, which I think I'll be going to see. I imagine I'll go see that with Lenny. The first one was all right. So, yeah, a bit of a weird time to release it right by Christmas, if you ask me. Should have been 2 months ago at Halloween. But, yeah, never mind. I think I'll be going to see that.
It looks all right. I've not seen the trailer for it. It looks all right. I've seen the poster. But I know that McKenna Grace is in it. So
she wasn't in the first, I don't think. She's good. She's good in stuff.
I didn't realise as well, by the way, spoilers for Five Nights at Freddy's, that the animatronics aren't just like, they're not malfunctioning. They're possessed by the ghosts of dead children. That's really dark.
Oh, yeah, the story is quite dark. I mean, Lenny's a FNAF aficionado, really. But yeah, something about
Get on the show.
Right? Well, there we go. Lenny, here's your invite. Next week, you can come on and review FNAF with us and tell us all about the lore. Amazing.
We'll look forward to that, ladies and gents. And we'll be back very soon with another episode of Movie on Up. Let's do a quarter. Come on. Barbershop quartet. Movie on Up.
That was good. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That was excellent. Really good.